Welcome to Wild on 6TV, the Oxford Channel. I'm Sasha Norris, and every week I strive to bring you the latest wildlife stories from around the county. But I barely chalk on the board of the fine art that is wildlife filmmaking. Up in sleepy Longhamburgh, Oxford Scientific Films do it for real. They're all a bit weird though. Back in the summer, I went to meet them. Sean, hello.
Good to see you.
There's been some very strange rumours about what goes on here, Sean.
Yes. Well, we better talk about those. You mean the 30,000 women?
The 30,000 women,
Right.
the turd thing. You know, it's
We're
a
not
bit
going to mention
disturbing.
it.
Okay, so Sean Norris, you're the director and founder of OSF, Oxford Scientific Films, aren't you?
One of them, yes.
One of. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit later about your 40,000 women that you have outside the window and you shout at to carry on working at. And we're going to look, we're going to investigate this rumour about you filming dog faeces, aren't we?
Yes, we can go and look at that later on.
Made out of peanut butter. But
Yeah.
but first I think we need, the people of Oxfordshire probably need a bit of a background to your organisation so they can get their heads around it.
Yeah, because otherwise I think we do nothing but dog turds and 40,000 women, and it wouldn't.
Yeah, that wouldn't do.
No. Well, about 30 years ago, some crazy biologists from Oxford University decided to film wildlife for a living, and we set up studios here in what was the garden of one of my colleagues at the time. There were 5 of us, dedicated to filming mainly small animals and insects and birds and so on. Mainly things that people had never filmed before, because we'd invented some strange equipment that allowed us to film in macro and micro and so on. So we were all newly out of Oxford University, and we had the most incredible life setting up equipment and setups to film things that almost had never been filmed before.
What did you film?
We filmed sticklebacks and beetles and dragonflies and ladybirds, but at that stage nobody had filmed them. So we were filming things that scientists who were working on these things had never even seen. So for us it was amazing. Of course it then led on to lots of other things abroad and as well.
What's the most extraordinary thing you think you've done?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, things like filming inside a flower, transporting a camera inside a lily, a water lily. There's a species of water lily that in order to be pollinated, it needs to attract a hoverfly to go into the flower, and the hoverfly actually drowns in the liquid in the centre of the flower, and the liquid is a sort of narcotic nectar. And to get a full-size camera down inside a lily, which is 1.5 inches across, and show this battle going on between the hoverfly and the surface tension of the liquid, which it eventually loses and drowns, and all the pollen grains. I mean, that sort of thing. Transporting people into worlds where you can't really get without a camera or a microscope or and then putting it on the television, and people thinking, it's amazing.
What's OSF become today? Because there's lots of you here, aren't there?
OSF is now a big company out of the original obsession with filming funny animals. Developed an obsession for filming anything that's funny. So we started doing time-lapse and slow motion and things for feature films and things for commercials. With our cameras we also took still photographs of. So eventually we amassed several 100,000 slides, and that was the beginning of a photo agency. So we now have a stills library and a cine library, nat hist, and commercials and special effects.
You've won lots of awards, haven't you? The wall outside is covered with
yes.
certificates, prizes.
Yes.
What's your one you're most proud of?
Oh, my proudest is an Emmy. We did a film about the Sonoran Desert, which is a stunning part of the world. A great privilege to be there for a couple of years, filming saguaro cacti and bees and insects and so on. It was a National Geographic special, and it won an Emmy for photography. And it was me and a colleague who mainly did it, so I share that with him. That was great, because it was, I think it's the filming and the storytelling that gives me the big kick. And we did some pretty astonishing stuff there, and it was a great show, and that was a sort of recognition of what we've been doing for 25 years or so.
From an Emmy to dog turd, so we're going to go downstairs. Are we going to go downstairs and talk to James, aren't we, with your cameraman?
Yes, he does the turds now.
He's doing the turds now while you do the important...
well, I've got the women to look after.
You've got to look after women. So we're going to come back after the break and have a look at your 40,000 women, but first we're going to meet James in the studio.
Good luck. Put your nose clip on.
Okay, thanks very much. James!
Hi, come in.
Am I in the right place?
You certainly are. Come and sit down.
Is that one you made earlier, James?
It is indeed, I just squeezed it out.
Oh, no you didn't. Did you?
I'm afraid.
Why doesn't it smell in here?
Well, it's made of carrot cake, to tell you the truth. With the pizza topping mixed in to give it that authentic sort of nutty texture.
Oh.
I mean, I would much rather use genuine dog turds, but I'm picking the, well, yeah, you guarantee authenticity then, which is the whole idea of these kinds of things. But basically, I didn't fancy spending hours on hours in a small room picking dog turds apart with my fingers, so I made them. But unfortunately, carrot cake mix sweats heavily under these studio lights, so I've got to give them. They've got to go to makeup first, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just sort of trying to dull them down.
The impression of
sunbaked.
Of being sunbaked. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we've just about got there, and it's ready to go on the set.
What's the point of this sequence?
Well, it's these are the cutaway shots for a sequence about burying beetles in Australia, where they have a large problem in Sydney actually with dog turds because the sun bakes them hard. They sit there like stones for up to 2.5 years because there's nothing in Australia that eats carnid turds. So to combat this problem, they've brought a load of dung beetles from North Africa that are carnid specialists that can actually handle these sun-baked turds, and they're used basically to clean up the parks. So we've been filming that for a series called Bug World, which is we're in production at the moment for Discovery and Channel 4. And obviously this kind of shot is very difficult to do in the wild. Certainly it's difficult to do in a Sydney municipal park. So we're doing it here as a pickup, which is much cheaper than sending me to Australia, unfortunately, but that's the way these things generally go. Unfortunately, these beetles, you don't see much of them in their natural behaviour. They find their turds very quickly, they burrow underneath them and they excavate a chamber that the turd drops into. And then they lay their eggs in the turd and feed on it, and it's all covered over and away from the sun. So I can do all my, basically this is like a stop frame animation, it's not a true time lapse. Because I'm stopping the shot, fiddling, running the shot, fiddling, running a shot. So I've got a hole cut in the turf here, and I'm basically going to be teasing it through slowly. But obviously that will look really artificial if it just disappears down through the turf with no sort of reaction to the environment. So as it's disappearing down through, I've got a little bucket of soil here somewhere that I actually make little piles of next to the turd. So it looks like there's something underneath pushing the soil up, and you sort of develop these little techniques for making little piles of soil at the edges and pushing them forward, so it looks like they're coming up from underneath rather than being just poured on.
Do you ever think, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, but I mean, I think if I didn't question the sort of basic morality of doing something like this, then I'd probably be a little bit mad.
So when you say the morality of pretending that you're a dung beetle burrowing a pile of dog feces,
the morality of making your living out of making false dog turds and pretending to be a dung beetle, yeah, I guess that's kind of...
And your living is as a wildlife cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing it?
Nearly 5 years now. Only really 3.5 years full time. Up until that point I was one of the many unpaid volunteers who do camera assisting for nothing and that kind of thing, which fortunately is the only way into the industry. It's a very good way in, because you pick up all the tips and you get to work with some very dedicated people.
So this is film, and is it very expensive to?
Yes, it is. It's getting more expensive as well because video is taking over, and rightly so. It's a much cheaper, more available medium.
We film in video at the Oxford Channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's far more practical. It's far more practical, but you still can't do good time lapses on video, not without great expense, and you can't do high speed on video yet. So all high speed filming is still on film medium. And there's an argument to say that film looks much nicer than video, and I'd agree with that. But I think you can do things to video to make it look just as nice as film.
Okay, we'll carry on. So you've done your first bit.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, to make it look real, you've got to think of an awful lot of other angles. One of which is you've got to have some actors. So you end up sort of popping a fly on. Now, because this is a time lapse.
Oh, it's live.
Yeah, if you just watch the light, I just get single frames of flies hopping about in the shot. Because obviously, if you were filming a dog turd for real, it would have flies landing on it at pretty regular intervals. So I'm just going to start lowering it slightly. This is a very tedious process to anybody who's not particularly interested. It probably seems strange that I can spend a whole day sitting in a room slowly animating a turd, but it's got its rewards. If you find this kind of stuff creatively rewarding, it's great to make a shot work.
So there's your fly.
Yeah.
We're putting it on.
And I mean, as you can see, it's been dead a long time, and it doesn't look at all convincing if you study it. But you're only ever seeing it at a 25th of a second on the screen, so it's just subconsciously telling you that something's going on there.
So the viewers won't have a chance to scrutinise it and
No,
say,
they won't see
hang on a minute,
that fly's got no legs.
That fly's deceased.
Not at all. But yeah, it's those things that make the shots work. For instance, I usually work with a fan in here. Certainly if you're ever doing real-time filming, last week I was filming locust hatching and locust feeding. And it was supposed to be Australia. So I had a little set built, and you have to think of not only the intensity of light in the desert, you have to balance your shadows so they don't look like they're being lit by two big studio lights, but also you want your grasses to be moving a little bit. You want a messiness that doesn't look like you've put it there. You want bits of broken leaves, but you want to make it as biologically correct as possible. So you sort of go hunting around garden centres looking for dying eucalyptus trees and that you can sort of buy for cheap and stash in the background.
Because a few leaves down.
Yeah.
You've got a few leaves here, haven't you?
Yeah.
They're adding to the reality. Well, they're not moved them, otherwise they're...
No, yeah, that would... So, and this is it. I mean,
So you're taking a single... It sounds like you're taking a photograph, but it's actually a frame on a film.
Yeah, but it's essentially that's a photograph. I mean, the film that's in this camera is chemically identical to the film you put in your camera when you go on holiday and take your holiday snaps. It comes in longer lengths, and when you show those pictures quickly in succession on a TV screen, it looks like motion picture. But in essence, what you've got are lots of tiny little photos.
Well, James, you're very patient. I think I'm going to leave you to it, burying your turd. I don't think I've got quite the patience for it.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Thanks very much for showing it to us, and I hope your next shoot is a lot more glamorous.
You too.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. Bye.
I'm here at Oxford Scientific Films. I'm joined by Sasha Norris, one of the founders here, and I'm going to get to the heart of the matter of these 40,000 women that Sean keeps captive here at OSF. Sean, you've been seen, well, the staff have reported that you lean out of the window and shout at these women, "Get on with it, girls, get moving." I mean...
Well, they need encouraging.
Right, do they work hard for you?
Yeah, they do, and I feel that, if I communicate with them and give them a bit of encouragement every now and again.
So it's kind of more positive than...
Yes, and if you have 40,000 women, you can't just expect them to beaver away, day and night, without a bit of encouragement.
Okay.
So the least I can do is to, shout out of the window occasionally.
Okay, we're going to go and talk to them, aren't we? But they get a bit cross.
Yes, well, they can, sometimes.
Perhaps in the presence of another woman. So I'm going to wear some protective clothing. Do you want to just...
Yeah, you climb into this.
Right.
It's clean, as you can see.
Okay, yeah,
Or
spotless.
was clean once.
Spotless,
yeah.
Sure.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to get into my version as well, because they get cross with me occasionally. So.
Okay, so I have to wear this old hat, do I?
Yeah, but put that on first.
Okay.
It'll be getting a terrible mother if you didn't know that.
Right, okay.
Put the arm through first.
Oh, the arm. Well, okay. Hang on a minute. Right, cut! Right. Look,
Do you want any help from me?
I think I'm alright, thanks very much, Sean. I think you've got enough women on the go at the moment.
No, I'm not properly protected. You get...
This is all for the viewers. They like to bring them the best stories, don't they?
Yeah.
One. Just come out of a museum then.
What's this? Oh, hang on.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it better be good.
I think this did service in the Indian Army, actually.
Okay.
Can you see anything?
Did service in the army. Who are you?
Oh,
We have to go out the window, do we?
do you want me to go out first or you?
No, well, you know, never one to...
Let me go first.
but you go.
I can receive you.
Okay.
Look forward. It's only a 30-foot drop.
It's sort of like going on to the moon. Here we are. Help! Help! Oh!
There you go.
Bye!
We'll go over and see the women.
Right. Keep low.
Hello, girls.
Sean,
Hello, girls.
they're bees.
Lovely.
You're talking to them.
Yes, if you come around this side, because their flight path is that way,
Right.
and
Keep well back.
no, he's fine. Come have a look. So what I'm going to do is look inside the hive to check for queen cells.
Okay.
Okay. So what we do is, if you want to come around the back here,
Okay. Are they going to get cross about this?
if I move slowly,
Right.
um,
They're used to you, are they, Sean?
what they don't like is the impression that you're attacking them, because
Right.
then they get very upset and highly defensive.
Right.
So if I were to kick this hive or to break it open as if I was a predator,
Like a bear, for
like a
example.
bear, they would get extremely
Cross.
cranky.
Okay.
And then they would come out and sting everybody, quite rightly, because they would be defending their brood.
Right.
So as long as I move fairly slowly.
So that's all structured like lots of wooden boxes.
Yeah, this is to keep the rain off the hive.
Okay, and that's the main hive now, is it? That
So the bees are all inside this bit.
Right. And there's 40,000 of them in there.
Yeah, it's a very strong hive.
Strong, by which means it's healthy and robust.
Strong in terms of lots of bees. Now the key thing in keeping bees happy
Oh,
is smoke.
okay.
So,
Why does it keep them happy?
because they think, when they smell smoke, they think that their hive is burning down. So an alarm signal goes through the hive that says you're about to be consumed by fire. Be prepared to evacuate with all the honey.
Right.
And their mind goes off the other signal, which is you're about to be attacked by a bear, which they think we are.
Right, so we're the bear, and
We're
then
the
they
bear,
think
and this is
the fire.
fire. So
Yes, thanks.
when they get that sniff of that,
You know how to keep a woman happy, Sean.
well, it stops you getting cross.
Oh, Sean. So they
So what I have to do now is
they don't get used to that then, even if you do it 100
no,
times.
I give them a little bit of puff of the smoke in the front.
Right.
Now already the bees inside will be worried about the fact that they smelt smoke.
Oh, right. Okay, so they've started to buzz around a lot, haven't they, here?
And what I'm going to do now
If you look at the front, right. So now you're going to
is lift this up. I have to puff some smoke inside.
puffing the smoke inside. Oh, and there are the bees.
This is enormously heavy.
You need some help?
This is about 60
Oh.
pounds of honey.
That's 60 pounds of honey that you're lifting, and there are the bees, burrowing away, working away.
And well, let me just show you a little bit of. So this is where the bees put the honey
Right.
in these boxes on the top. Give them a bit of smoke. Let's get. I'm going to move slowly because
Wow, Sean.
see the honey glinting.
So the honey's the wet.
The honey's the wet stuff, and the wax is
The yellow.
the yellow.
How does it work? Why have they got honey and salmon?
Well, actually, these yellow bits is pollen, which they store to feed to their grubs, and the honey is what they feed to me.
Right.
What they think it's for them. What they're doing is they're laying up stores for the winter. So they're programmed to collect as much spare honey as possible during the summer, so that during the winter when there's no flowers, they can eat that. Now what I'm going to do is to go down below the bit where the honey is to the bit where the grubs are.
And these are all girls?
They're all girls and they're all the daughters of the queen. So the queen laid 20,000 eggs, 30,000 eggs.
Okay, so the queen is in there, she's the boss, she's the mother of all of these bees?
And yeah, everyone.
She laid 20,000 eggs and they all hatched out into these bees. And now she's busy laying more eggs to turn into more bees.
Yeah, because a bee only lasts 5 weeks.
Oh, a bee lasts 5 weeks?
A worker bee lasts 5 weeks as they get worn out. They work so hard because I encourage them through the window. Come on, girls.
They're being very calm, aren't they, really?
That's because of the smoke.
Right. So what are they doing? Are they sort of busy running around going quick?
Yeah, what they're doing is they're going to the honey cells. I can already see some queen cells. They're going to the honey cells and filling themselves up with honey in preparation to abandoning the hive if the smoke gets too bad. So if this was a real fire and the tree they were in, if this was a hollow tree.
Right, because they normally in the wild they'd live in a hollow tree.
Yeah. Now, do you see these are different, these cells?
There's lots and lots and lots of bees there.
Those are all baby bees inside cells. No honey in this at all, that's all new brood. And this is a queen cell. They're going to make a new queen, which I don't want. There's no queen grub in that.
So that's a bigger cell.
A bigger
than the
cell,
rest.
and there's another queen cell on this side.
So the queen bee has laid all the eggs into these little cells.
Yes.
And why is it yellow? What's the yellow?
This is the lids, the caps over. So if I took one of these yellow things off, there'd be a grub underneath.
Right.
So safely inside each one of these cells is a baby bee that's growing. And this is a queen cell, which I'm going to remove, because that's going to produce a new queen. That white stuff is the new queen grub.
And you don't want that?
No, because if new queens hatch out, the old queen leaves with a swarm, and I lose most of these bees. They all buzz off with the queen, and only have half as many bees.
So they decide that they go off with her.
They go off with her and start a new colony because there's so many bees here and so much honey in these boxes that they've made the decision that it's time to split the colony in half.
Right.
So I've removed a couple of queen cells. As you see, they're very quiet.
They're being very good, aren't they?
I mean, they could be stinging the hell out of us, but they're very quiet.
They're not.
I'm going to put this back because I don't want to disturb them anymore. I shall have to come back on another day and take out some more queen cells. But I have a feeling that this colony will definitely swarm in the next few days, which for me will be grim because half my women will leave me.
Half of your women will fly
Half
off,
of these
Sean.
bees,
that's not what you want.
And I'll only be left with 30,000 rather than 60,000 or whatever it is. That's about 60, 70 jam jars full.
Well, they're working very hard for you.
Well, it's been a good summer. Right, we don't need any more smoke. We then put the house back together. Now, I hope you're impressed how nice and calm these girls have been.
I am.
I mean, there
Are
would
they
be
a special kind of bee?
This colony happens to be very quiet, very even-tempered. Bees vary genetically, just like people. You get bad-tempered people, you get lovely, laughy people, and you get bad-tempered bees and laughy bees. It's all to do with the genetics of the queen. And also it's to do with what they're feeling like. So if these bees had been feeding on rape, you know the yellow fields?
Yes.
Of rape in the spring. Rape nectar makes bees cross.
Right.
So there's something in rape nectar that makes bees really angry, and I would be attacked walking across this roof. Before I'd even got to this hive, I'd be attacked by bees.
Really? So but they haven't been eating rape, obviously.
No,
then.
the rape season's over. So
when they were eating rape, were you attacked?
yes.
Oh, they got cross.
Not
we don't know
many.
why. We don't know what that was.
What?
What's in it?
No, nobody knows. It's just one of those things that people say, oh, me bees are angry, they must be going to rape. And it's true. Because I've often had quiet colonies like this, and in the middle of the rape season, they're just much more difficult to handle. And we could still do all that stuff we've just been doing. There'd be bees all over the veil trying to get down here and down your trouser legs, and it'd be quite sort of worrying. Right, there we are, girls.
You love your bees, really, don't you,
I
Sean?
do like my bees. I know it sounds very rustic and rural and simple, but there's something about the fact that they're working for us. They're also out there pollinating crops, They're being good, they're wild creatures. They're here, if they want to leave they can. So it's a sort of mutual relationship. It's nice. Come on then.
Right, we've got to go back now, but we're all right. We can stroll back now.
We can stroll back.
Through the window then, is it, Sean? Well, you know how to keep those girls happy, Sean.
Well, it's a sort of, I think I do, but I think they're going to swarm because there's so many bees in there and they've got queen cells, and all the sweet talking that I may or may not do, if they decide to swarm, you know what women are like.
Or after a while, you've just got to let them go.
They'll...
If you love them, set them free.
No matter how much I love them, if they want to go,
They've got to go. They've got to find pastures new.
I just hope that they leave a few behind for me to carry on with. How come you're not sweating? I'm absolutely...
I am, sir. Ooh. That's the window then, is it?
Yeah. Come on, girls, keep working.